Hi, I'm Jack Berry, and today I'm at Sycamore Hills Golf Club with Jerry Matthews, the man who designed the course. And you see the big fountain behind us, and the reason for that is they had to dig a big hole, right, Jerry?
We call that an excavation. But, we always, just about always dig ponds, excavate ponds somewhere for two reasons. One, it supplies us with an awful lot of soil to build greens and tees and bunkers and things like that. But it also provides a small lake, if you would, or pond to pump the irrigation system from. So we get two benefits from digging a hole in the ground.
Okay, now there are 27 holes here at Sycamore Hills, and this is the west course. They're the north, the south, and the west, and this is the west course that we're on right here. In 1990 was when the course opened, and Jerry has done like 100 or so golf courses around the state of Michigan, and this has to be one that you've especially memorable.
It really is. Number one, I always find it enjoyable when I get all done with a golf course and I look back at it. The people you work with are simply part of what you do. And just about all of them I worked with are wonderful people, but the Schwartz family is particularly a great bunch of people. Very supportive in what we were doing and trying to do it. So that helps, I think, in a job. But this one is particularly, the first thing I remember about this golf course is it's the only one I ever started in January in the state of Michigan. We started on this particular pond right here, excavating in January of 90, I think 89 probably.
Was that a tough dig?
No. So, there's a lot of clay. Clay is easy. Not easy, you don't really like to work with the clay, but it holds water. Yeah.
Which is very important in golf.
I like water, yes. That's one of the features, of course, that we work with.
Well, we're going to ride around the course today and show some of the highlights and some of Jerry Matthews' memories of doing the work here. Well, we're with Matt Schwartz, who was about 3 years old when this hole was established way back in 1990 when the golf course opened, and Matt was playing in the sand trap here. Is that right, Matt?
That's right. Yeah, 3 years old when we were building it, and 4 years old I had to get out before I got hit by a ball. So.
And now this hole has quite a reputation. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's part of the 1,000 golf holes you have to play before you die, and this is a par 5, and it starts along the burning tree borderline there, and it was carved out of the forest, and it goes through the Clinton River, and to the Clinton River it's about 250 yards, 275 yards, and then from the other side of the river in it's about 150 yards, and it's a dog leg, so that cuts off some of the yardage, but it's a difficult hole for a lot of people. You have trees on the left and out of bounds on the right, and a river that cuts through the middle of it, so you have to be very precise. And we had our 27-hole scramble here a couple weeks ago, and somebody actually got a 2 on this hole, so they got quite a few bucks.
Well, you've got some people who can really rip the ball then. Well, we're on the south course, which was the last 9 holes built, and tell us about it, Jerry.
Well, I think the story has to go a little backwards from the hole itself. Well, I will tell that story now.
Okay.
It's the only golf course that I ever had so much trouble getting a wetland permit for.
Oh.
And it's in first place by a mile. So I never will forget that. We had an awful time because of all the wetlands behind us, and these holes are down in the valley along the river. And it was a lot of wetlands, but this was all wooded, this part of the hole, and of course we had to clear that. But that's what I remember mostly about that was the difficulties we had getting the permit, and then the difficulties we had building these 3 holes down in here, that there was so much trouble for us. I mean, wetlands are sometimes trouble.
But it looks, it's come out beautifully. I mean, this is a really pretty hole.
Yeah, we have the river to work with. I have to turn around here because this is what I think is why we do this. The tee is on the relatively flat ground up to the east here, or north. That would be north. Okay. But this kind of ground is what I think golf course design is all about. This is what makes it fun. If you can find a plateau, which all this is for the tee shot, then you have this drop right here down to a green. I don't think it gets much better than that, just for starters. I like to be up in the air above things. on the tee shot and on the second shot. So
A little elevation, and so that makes you feel when you're on the tee why the hole stretches out ahead of you there, and you're the king of the hill so, to start with, right?
I think that part of golf course design. That's why we build things up so much. And if you can find that in nature, you don't have to do that. But the other part about this hole is it's got this river going down around behind the green, so it's kind of a peninsula hole also. But I think it's a very pretty hole. But it's fair.
That is Jerry's number one aim, is to have it fair. Now, Matt Schwark, of the family that owns this place, is going to give us a little explanation of all this water that's behind us. What are the holes here, Matt?
Sure. So what we're looking at are West number 4, and that's a beautiful par 3, where we have water to the left, out of bounds to the right, and a beautiful backdrop of trees behind it. And it's also beautiful in the morning because that's where the sun will rise, so it comes right above those trees, and it's very picturesque. This hole right before it, West number 3, is a very tough par 4. It has water to the left and right side of the fairway. It requires a precise tee shot. It's a 400-yard par 4 with a small green guarded by 2 bunkers right in front of it, and it requires a precise tee shot and a precise approach shot as well.
Now we're going to talk to Mr. Water, Jerry Matthews, who has encountered more water in golf courses than you can shake an oar at. And Jerry, tell us about the problems that you have, the pleasures and the problems.
Problems. Well, I do like water. It's one of the features I like in golf course design, and I know you know that. So sometimes we dig a pond as a double function, and like we did on West 9, where we started this project. We dig holes in the ground to get fill material to build tees and greens and mounds that you see, and also that is why we dig that hole. It's a double function, and some water is natural that we have on the Clinton River on a number of these holes, but the water behind us is built not because we wanted to, but because we had to. This was a particularly difficult site from a wetland standpoint because of the Clinton River and some of the marsh land along the river and where it widens out. So when you have that, go get that permit to do that, you have to sacrifice something. So they ask you, the state of Michigan, ask you to, if you destroy an acre of wetland or use it, you don't destroy it, if you use it, you have to create an acre and a half of artificial, if we would say, wetland somewhere else on the project. So all the water you see behind us in the island and the little stumps sticking out are what we created as wetlands to replace the wetlands that we utilized.
Now we're with Craig Rogovan. He's the man who's making this course look fabulous. He's the golf course superintendent. How long have you been here, Craig?
26 years.
And?
Been in the business about 45.
And Craig is with us talking a little bit about erosion. Tell us about that.
Well, over the years, we just had a lot of banks falling apart, from the water and the waves, and it just looked pretty lousy there for about 20 years, and we finally decided to do something, and Jerry came out and gave us some ideas, and then, I kind of took it from there. I've done seawalls in the past. I didn't want all seawalls or all look like a quarry, so we kind of mixed it up a little bit, and I think it came out pretty well.
Have the Clinton River running through here, has that been any effect?
Well, it has, and there's areas that maybe in the future we can touch up, but right now we haven't touched the river at all. We kind of leave it intact, and Mother Nature's taking care of that too.
Well, the river, I think, is a different issue. Craig does, as you know, a great job on these ponds. I was here a couple of years ago, and it was pretty ugly. He's done a great job, but the river, I'm not sure, but I don't think they legally can do too much with the river without going to the Corps of Engineers and telling them what the problem is, and they would probably specify what had to be done.
Now, Matt's going to tell us how this whole operation began before he was a gleam in somebody's eye, way back in the past of the Schwark family. Tell us, Matt.
Sure. So my grandfather, Ken, owned the land originally. He had a bunch of acres out here, and that was purchased in the 70s. And he wasn't quite sure what he wanted to do with the land, so he was sitting on it for quite a while and wasn't sure if it would become real estate or a commercial development or quite what. And in the mid to late 80s, they had the idea of, well, let's make a golf course out of it. He always loved playing golf. He had a place down in Florida and belonged to a country club at the time, and you can get better tee times when you own a golf course. So they decided to make a golf course out of it, and that's when they brought along Jerry, and they built it in '89, and the golf course opened in 1990. And originally it was 18 holes, and then they purchased a little bit more land, which would become our south course, where you heard Jerry talking about the difficulty of building that because it was wetlands and a floodplain.
And then, do you get to play often? Does your grandpa play? Your dad play?
Sure. My grandpa would play quite a bit. He still had his place in Florida and sold that right around the millennium, right around 2000. So he would play quite a bit. My grandma would play as well. She was on a league out here, and they've since passed in the last couple of years. And my father plays every week. He'll play Fridays with his friends, and then on Sunday he comes out with my mom, his wife, and they'll play together on Sunday afternoons. And then myself, I try to get out here at least once a week, sometimes twice. I have to get out first thing in the morning because I got to get in the shop later in the day. So I like to do that, be the first one out, and it's nice seeing that sunrise and not having anybody else out there on the course, having it to yourself.
So you play fast.
Oh yeah, I can get 18 holes in about 2 hours, so I whip around there and have a good time with it.
And with not too many strokes, is that right?
No, I'm doing all right. I'm a PJ apprentice myself, so I got a little bit of credibility. So
Now, this course has a special name. It is called Sycamore Hills. Jerry, tell us how it got to Sycamore.
Well, my memory might not be totally accurate, but as I remember it, Tom Schwark and Ken Schwark and I were out looking around at things that were going on during construction, and they said, golly, what do we name this place? And I turned around and I said, how about that right there? That is a sycamore tree. He can clip that out if he wants.
Now that is a real sycamore. Well, we've had a delightful time here at Sycamore Hills Golf Club. The staff here has been terrific with us, and Matt Schwark, who's the grandson of the owner, and the son of his dad, is here, and the family has really done a wonderful job. A family golf course, family club, and they hired a man who knows how to do these kind of golf courses, Jerry Matthews. And Jerry, we've got behind us one of your nicest works, this nice little par 3 right over the Clinton River. Now, I'm an aquaphobe, and I might occasionally put it in the water here, you know me, but they do make holes in one here.
Well, yes, Jack, I do know you, but still, I have the same problem. So, but anyway, this is a nice little par 3 we stuck down here on the end of along the property line here, so it's out of bounds on the left and wooded, and some nice trees. And the river does run along in front of the green. You can see the water, but the river is in that ravine down there. So, I think this is what makes this the job that I do, not that I. Oh, anyway, what I enjoy doing is finding natural golf holes, and this is one of them. All we did here was build a green and a tee complex, and to me that's what the fun part of what I do is. You just find something that nature has put there and capitalize on it.
You did it.